What is one unwritten rule that you believe everyone should know and follow? If I show you a picture on my phone, don't go swiping sideways. My boss did this to me and I wanted to kill her. I have never been more uncomfortable in my life watching her just keep effing swiping. Hell on earth. Don't watch loud videos on your phone at a restaurant. Can't believe this isn't common courtesy anymore. I obviously hate when people are having things playing without headphones out in public. But the one thing that I find trashy beyond belief is talking to someone on speaker while in public but putting the phone to your mouth anyway. Like, just take it off speaker. I promise the distance is the same. Yeah, I used to be in restaurants a lot on the road and annoyed the hell out of me. I mentioned it to a few people and one restaurant some guy started yelling across the thing that he was going to kick my ass or something because I asked him if he could please turn it down a little bit. So I try a new tactic which works good whether they're on speaker or an earpiece and shouting. I smile at him and I go, wow man, that's a really good phone, that speaker, boy the sound on that thing's tremendous, hey where'd you get that? They start waving at you like, hey I'm on the phone, can't you see I'm on a phone call? And I just keep talking going, wow that is great phone, hey like I don't know this, they're talking to somebody. They are deeply confused about my lack of etiquette and then they usually walk outside or take it off speaker and then they kind of figure it out. The last one to go to bed has to turn the light off. When you have a complaint with a retail store or business, please remember that the person you are speaking to, or yelling at sadly, is just the one that happened to pick up the phone or is standing at the till. They likely have nothing to do with what went wrong and have little sway in what can be done to help. They don't need to be yelled and screamed at for something they did not do or is under the control of a corporate office higher up. I was on the phone with my cell provider once. My phone had been cut off for some reason. I called, and she explained I hadn't paid the bill. I'm like, oh whoops, my bad. Can I pay it now? And she burst into tears. I inquired, and she told me that she'd had a few similar calls today, and they'd all been abusive to her. She'd been so terrified that I would yell at her that when I didn't all the emotion just came out. Really pissed me off that people would be like that. That poor lady who answered. Speaking from experience, people have no issue screaming the worst names at you and threatening you. Your reaction would have been such a relief for her. It is sad that your reaction was the exception. Put the shopping cart back where it goes. If you want to go for a hike and listen to music, come with earphones or headphones. Don't blast loud music. Stand back before boarding a bus, subway, metro, or elevator so that those on can get off quickly without have to wait for you to back up first. When someone else is paying the bill, you shouldn't order something very pricey. It's understandable if something expensive is the only thing you are able to eat. If someone is wearing headphones and is clearly keeping to themselves, leave them the F alone. I wear headphones pretty much at all times while I'm out on my own. I'm not even listening to anything half the time. People on the bus still never fail to bother me on the bus for little to no reason, aggressively poking me my shoulder from behind only to ask what time it is despite the time being displayed on a large screen in the front of the bus. When walking through a store, treat the aisles like lanes on a road. Keep to the right. Same goes for sidewalks and hiking trails. Quit pissing on public toilet seats, and if you do, at least have the decency to wipe it up. When you are shopping looking for clothes and suddenly decide you don't want it anymore, put it back where you found it. Don't just dump it somewhere. It makes life hard for both workers who are cleaning up and the customers looking for something to buy. Customers seem to think, oh, I can just dump this frozen meat product in any aisle I want. The employee will put it back, it's their job after all. No. First off, it's not always found until later that night or the next day, and the rule at my place was anything found outside of the fridge freezer had to be thrown away. Doesn't matter if it's still cold to the touch, there was no telling how long it had been there. Also, stop dumping your cold shoe don't want in the pop coolers at the registers. If you got that far and decided you don't want it, hand it to the cashier. Those coolers are not meant to keep frozen items frozen. The wave of thank you when someone lets you in while driving in traffic. It's just polite. I used to see my mom do this in the car. I would always ask, do you know them? Who was that? And she'd always say no or right EK and never explained why she waved. WTF. Don't get too attached to your opinion. How about if a friend tells you something, particularly if it's private, Don't go and blab about it to other friends, people just like that. Likely it should be a red flag to some degree that they don't respect you. I can't tell you how many times I told now ex-friends about stuff or whatever only to find out from a mutual friend that so and so told them about stuff or overheard them talking about something I said to someone else. Stuff that was meant to stay private and not be shared. I legit thought it was an unwritten rule that people followed and didn't think they'd just go and blab about it to someone else. Just WTF. Double flush if you must. Nobody wants to see your poop crumbs. Clean up after yourself. I do see it or similar things written on signs, so maybe this doesn't count. You nod up to people you know. You nod down to strangers. Re-rack your weights. Use the spray provided and wipe down your machine when you're done. I'll re-rack your shawl day if you just promise to be responsible for your secretions. Don't ask questions you don't want to know the answers to, or can't handle the answers to. Don't litter, including cigarette butts. The world is not your damn dumpster. I hear that. I'm a smoker and it's bad enough as it is. I don't need to be a litter bug too. Pro tip. Squeeze the tobacco out of your buds and put it back in your pack until you see a garbage can. It makes the bud stink that much less. And you're never really that far from one either. If you think it stinks too much, well, newsflash. Smoking stinks, period. Repeatedly referring to my twin brother as just my twin brother and not his name will start to feel disrespectful. My dad exclusively referred to my brother and I as the twins to the point where we had to ask him if he could remember our names and tell us apart. It went on for 2 straight years. Also stop effing asking WHOS a cool good bad whatever twin. Joke's on you, it's both of us. Don't leave perishable items in random aisles or at the checkout. You're wasting food and driving prices up. Also, if you pick up a bouquet of flowers at the beginning of your shopping adventure and decide not to get them when you're walking through the freezer section, don't open one of the doors and lovingly place the bouquet inside. Legit came across a frozen bouquet several years ago. Don't bombard people with a ton of taking when they obviously feel tired and overwhelmed. They are having enough trouble with their own stuff to deal with all of your stuff. Give up your seat to the pregnant lady on the bus, train, or to anyone else who needs it. Don't take up 2 seats because you like to put your feet back up. Chew with your mouth closed. Reset the timer on the microwave if you take your food out before it's done. If you're about to turn the light on in a dark room and someone is there, you have to announce what you're about to do so the person doesn't get a surprise. I feel like it's really disrespectful to turn the light on without announcing it. Also, don't turn lights on for people. The amount of times I've been reading next to a lamp and somebody has walked into the room, turned on all the lights as a favor and immediately left is infuriating. If I needed more light to read, I would have turned them on myself. That if someone is hurt or being hurt, you do what you can to help them. I saw a Reddit thread once where a guy said his aunt and uncle were going to dinner and saw a man get stabbed and left lying in the street and they just ignored it and went on to dinner. BC they had reservations and didn't want to ruin their evening. I'm not saying you have to put your life in danger, but if a fellow human is hurt and needs help, you should help them. An anthropologist or archaeologist was asked what the first sign of civilization in human history was, and she answered when she found a fossilized leg bone that had been fractured but then healed. That meant that other people took care of the injured person long enough to heal so that they survived. Don't be an a-hole. I'm sorry you're having a tough day, a tough life, whatever. Everyone is dealing with Don't be an a-hole to other people because you're mad or hurt or scared or whatever. Others don't deserve it. If someone is being followed, talk to in such a way that it makes them uncomfortable. You pretend to be their SO. IDC what gender and sexual orientation you are. You are now their partner. Be polite, if not friendly, to everybody you meet. Sometimes all it takes is a bit of niceness to completely disarm and warm up strangers to your presence.